This is the complete guide for Tears of the Kingdom, a book that gives step-by-step instructions on how to beat the entire game. In this video, we follow every instruction word for word in order to beat the game exactly as Nintendo intended. The game begins with a short introductory sequence that is best enjoyed with as little guidance as possible. After the introductory cutscene, pick up the Decayed Master Sword and use it to cut the roots blocking the way. Activate the Zonai pedestal in the middle of the room and go through the door on the other side and follow the path forward. You'll eventually find your first treasure chest, which contains the archaic legwear. Open your inventory menu with plus to equip it. Go through the doorway to your right and jump down from the ledge to free fall toward the Great Sky Island. After the free fall sequence, you land in a lake on the Great Sky Island. Swim toward the steps in front of you. In the fields at the bottom of the slope, you'll find apples that you can pick, a tree branch that you can equip as a weapon, as well as an opponent, a soldier construct. This adversary offers you a first opportunity to practice basic combat skills. Once your enemy falls, you are free to explore the area. Examine the nearby steward construct to obtain the Poor Pad and trigger your first official quest, find Princess Zelda. Examine the Zonai pedestal to create a bridge, and make a brief stop by the small building where you will find a wooden stick. Next, dive from the ledge with the green symbol. Soldier constructs patrol in the area near the lake that you fall into. You can attempt to creep up on each one quietly from behind to initiate a high damage sneak strike. You can then resume your journey toward the Temple of Time to the north. Head up the steps leading to the Temple of Time, where another construct enemy awaits at the top. Collect the old wooden shield that it drops once defeated. Examine the door to trigger a cutscene, along with a new mission, the closed door. Your next task is to survey the surrounding region to locate the Great Sky Island's first 3 shrines. When you spot one, activate your scope and press A to place a pin on it. 2 shrines are clearly visible to the west and southeast. We will begin with the one to the west. The soldier construct on the way to the first shrine can easily be avoided, but we encourage you to defeat it. Claim its old wooden bow, then collect the arrows scattered on the ground in the area. The spiraling stairway leading to the shrine has a few broken sections. Simply climb up the wall to reach the other side. Once at the top, examine the Zonai seal to open the entrance to the Yuko shrine. You receive the Ultra Hand ability once inside. Test your new skills on the stone slab in front of you. Trigger Ultra Hand with L, then align your cursor on it and press A. Place the slab across the gap to create a bridge to reach the other side. Grab the slab leaning against the wall and rotate it until it's horizontal. Align both slabs lengthwise and attach them with A. You can now cross to the other side. By the way, the guide includes steps to find every chest in each shrine and temple we enter. While they won't be in the video, I did get them all to stay true to the challenge. You'll just have to trust me on that. The solution to the final puzzle should become apparent if you look up. Grab the wooden platform leaning against the wall with Ultra Hand and lay it horizontally on the floor. Take the nearby hook and glue it vertically on the platform. Pick the whole thing up and hang the hook from the metal bar, then quickly hop onto the platform just like this. When on the other side, you've completed your first shrine. Back outside, you can see the next shrine directly in the distance. Mark it with a pin using your scope. Just like in the picture, jump down into the river to the west of Yuko's shrine, then climb up the cliff on the other side. Build a platform similar to the one from the Yuko shrine's final puzzle to slide down the metal bar. In the next area, collect the 2 stone axes from the nearby stumps. Use Ultra Hand to attach 3 logs lengthwise to form a bridge, enabling you to cross the gap by the waterfall. The guide then gives you a list of optional objects to complete in the next area. I decided to do none of them. The lake you eventually reach is too wide for Link to swim across. Build a raft that looks like this using 3 logs and one of the sails found lying at the foot of the waterfall. Place your raft in the water and swiftly hop onto it. The wind will take you to the opposite shore. You're now a short climb away from the In-Isa shrine. Rauru grants you the fuse ability when you enter the shrine. Pick up and equip the rusty claymore, then fuse it with one of the boulders. The resulting boulder hammer can be used to shatter the destructible rocks blocking the path. The room on the other side of the corridor features small trees covered with fire fruit. Collect all of the available fruit, then pick up the old wooden bow. Aim your bow and press up on the D-pad to attach a piece of fire fruit to the knocked arrow, then release it at the dry leaves in the wall. You can retrieve the prize inside of the chest, a small key required to open the locked door at the end of the corridor. The next room has one final challenge in store for you, a Captain Construct 1. You can set the dry leaves on the ground ablaze to cause damage to this foe. Also, a long stick fused with spikes can prove effective here as well. Just beyond the destructible wall lies the pedestal to complete the second shrine. When you leave the In-Isa shrine, a steward construct will give you an energy cell, an item used to power Zonai devices. This is a good time for you to fuse a few of your base weapons with the soldier construct horns you've collected so far. Test your upgraded arsenal against the constructs on the way to the cave. You should notice a clear difference. The Pondside Cave is your first opportunity to collect bright bloom seeds. You'll also run into your first ore deposit. Smash them with a weapon fused with a boulder to reveal the materials they contain. The archaic tunic waits in the treasure chest right by the cave's exit. Collect and equip it before you leave. You now have another lake to cross. Create a raft from the logs using Ultra Hand, then attach one of the fans found in the area to the back of it. Place the raft in the water, jump on board, then hit the fan to make the crossing. Run up the slope to reach the mining cave. Speak to the various constructs on your way, especially the one close to the exit. It will give you 3 fan capsules. Position a minecart on the track with Ultra Hand, then deploy one of the fans you just acquired and attach it to the back of the cart to power it. The area you reach is home to a device dispenser. We suggest that you spend 5 Zonite charges in the receptacle to acquire enough capsules to cover your needs for the foreseeable future. Then head for the pit cave entrance to the east. The pit cave gives you access to a cooking pot. Collect the spicy peppers that grow nearby, then add 3 and 2 apples to the pot to create a dish that will grant you cold resistance for over 8 minutes. When you leave the pit cave, eat the meal that grants cold resistance to protect Link from the effects of low temperatures. Head northeast to reach the bottomless cave, where you'll find bomb flowers. Back outside, the third shrine is just above your position, but you cannot scale the slick, icy cliffs here. Walk alongside the wall to your left, continuing counterclockwise until you reach a waterfall. If you follow this path, you should reach a narrow section of wall not covered in ice. Climb to the top, and you're a short walk away from the Gutenbach shrine. After entering the shrine, you obtain the Ascend ability. Test your new skill on the platform that overlooks the area at the bottom of the stairs. Repeat this with the 2 columns that follow. The one on the right leads to the next area. Eliminate the soldier construct that awaits at the top. After that, cut the 2 ropes holding the stone slab. Once it falls, ascend through it, and ascend through the platform that moves back and forth across the room. Then ascend again to emerge in front of the altar. You have now completed your 3rd shrine. Back outside, follow the path as depicted in the guide, and ascend just under the protruding ledge to enter the large tree stump. Inside, you'll find a treasure chest that contains the archaic worm greaves. Equip this piece of armor right away. Damn, I hope that was fast enough. Keep heading north to find a new device dispenser that releases wings, among other capsules. Grab 1 wing with Ultra Hand, position it in one of the tracks pointing toward the Temple of Time, and quickly hop on it. Entering the building completes the closed door quest. Once inside the Temple of Time, examine the teardrop-shaped object to trigger a cutscene and obtain the recall ability. Cast Recall on either lateral toothed wheels to make your way up, except I couldn't choose either. I had to do it like this. Examine the door at the very top to continue. You can now fast travel to the Room of Awakening by selecting that destination on the map screen. When you arrive at the Room of Awakening, use Ascend and Recall to follow this path into the tunnel that leads to the Nichoya Shrine. This shrine introduces you to assorted applications of the recall ability. Position Link on either side, hop onto a raft, and cast the ability on it. The rewinding effect will enable you to move against the flow of water. Repeat this to reach the top of the waterfall. The final puzzle requires you to cast Recall on either hand of the clock-like device when they are on top of each other. The gate leading to the altar will remain open for as long as the effect lasts. And with that, that's the last Great Sky Island shrine completed. Travel back to the Temple of Time and examine the goddess statue to obtain a 4th heart container. This extra health will enable you to open the door just behind the statue. Run to the end of the long bridge using the Ascend ability when you reach the broken sections and examine the yellow glow at the end. This will initiate the To the Kingdom of Hyrule main quest. Jump down from your position and skydive toward one of the lakes. The next step in the guide is to get the Paraglider. Talk to Pura at Lookout Landing, talk to Captain Hawes at Hyrule Castle, went back to Lookout Landing and talked to Pura twice, and then we finally got the Paraglider and activated our first Skyview Tower. Oh, and if you talk to her a 3rd time, it starts the next main quest, Regional Phenomena. She's so needy. Before we can dive straight into the meat of the game with the sages, we have to do some small side tasks, the first being getting our camera. To trigger this quest, speak to Josha in her Lookout Landing workshop. Next, head to Hyrule Field Chasm directly south of Lookout Landing and dive into it. Once you land in the depths, be sure to activate the nearby Nisaj light route to bring light to the area and reveal the map around you. Next, you head west, throwing bright bloom seeds at regular intervals to illuminate the path forward. Meet Robbie at a campfire by the Iausis light route, and he'll activate the Purapad's camera for you. Take a picture of the statue with a raised arm, but before you return to Pura, we suggest you make a detour while you're in the area to unlock the auto build ability. So I did. I followed the direction the statues are facing to reach the Great Abandoned Central Mine. If you interact with this pedestal in the center, you'll receive the rune. Warp back to Lookout Landing and show Josha your findings to be rewarded with 5 pieces of Zonite. Yay! Next up, we speak to Impa about the random pictures glowing all over Hyrule called Geoglyphs. Speak to Impa, who is found a short distance north of New Serene Stable. She will ask you to repair her broken balloon, activate Ultra Hand, grab the nearby balloon, and position it on the adjacent gondola. You can now talk to Impa again and agree to join her. Pick up the torch and light it at the campfire. You can then hop onto the gondola and light the fire. The dragon tear you are seeking is in the Geoglyph's right eye, as shown in this image. Glide to it and examine the tiny pool of water. This triggers the next part of the quest line, the Dragon Tears. Head north to visit the Forgotten Temple, whose entrance lies at the north end of Tanagar Canyon. Go through the chambers until you meet Impa again, right next to the Mayausi Shrine. Mayausi? Mayausi, I don't even know. After your conversation with her, keep moving deeper into the temple until you reach a round chamber with murals. At this point, you're tasked to find the other 10 geoglyphs, each featuring a dragon's tear that you need to interact with. Looks like it's tear finding time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's 11. The saddest of all, but hey, we did it. I also got all of the Skyview Towers while I was at it. Okay, what's next in the guide? You should note, however, that this is a long-term assignment that will take you to the far reaches of Hyrule. Okay, yeah, it took me like 5 hours. You should therefore feel no obligation to complete it now. You've gotta be fucked. When you arrive in Rito territory, the bridge on the east side of Lake Totori that leads to Rito Village is broken. So walk around the Lucky Clover Gazette building to pick up Hylian pine cones and throw one into the nearby campfire. Immediately, jump and pull out your paraglider. Burst of flames caused by the pine cone will launch you high into the air, enabling you to glide across the gap. Head to the balcony directly above the hut with the village's cooking pot, where you will meet Tulin and his parents.
That's not fair at all! You know I can handle it! Checking out that huge cloud wouldn't be hard. I could even do it alone. If we don't do anything, the village... Huh? Huh? Is that you? It is you! Link!
This triggers the Tulin of Rito Village quest. Before you proceed any further, make sure you purchase at least one piece of the Snow Quill armor set at the armor shop to combine it with your greaves. Next, you must talk to Hearth at the Hebra Trailhead Lodge, directly north of Rito Village. Hearth sends you toward the Hebra South Summit Cave, which you can reach by following this path in the picture. You will eventually happen upon a bonfire that makes the entrance to the Hebra South Summit Cave. Follow the tunnel, paying the bramble a wide berth. Don't want to get hit by those. When you reach a vertical chamber, move to the middle of the room and pull out your paraglider, which will carry you to the opening above. You'll soon reach another room, this featuring an unlit campfire. Light the campfire by hitting a suitably placed flint with a stone or a metallic weapon and toss the Hylian pine cone into the fire. Jump and pull out your paraglider. Glide vertically, then move to reach the ledge. The rest of the path toward the exit is entirely straightforward and ends with a final wall that you need to climb. When you emerge into the open, look up toward the north. You can recognize Talanto Peak, your destination, by the lone cedar tree that grows there. Follow the path shown in the picture to reach the peak. Speak to Tulin when you join him near the cedar tree. Agree to help Tulin and he will introduce you to his power of wind. You can try it right away by gliding towards the ruins to the east. As soon as you are within bow range of the Arakuda who stole Tulin's bow, shoot it. A few enemy reinforcements will enter the fray after the cutscene. Defeat them however you see fit. After the next cutscene, you'll head to the northeast towards Hebra Peak. The path we took looks just like the one shown in the picture. After you reach Huck on the platform on top of Hebra Peak, call on Tulin's power to cross the first two gaps. When you make it to the tall ruins, activate Ascend multiple times to get to the top. This gives you access to the Rising Island chain. Okay, so this next part gets very specific, and I followed it all to a T, but I didn't want to bore you guys, so... Oh, wow, we made it up to the Wind Temple. That's crazy. Once on the Stormwind Arc, examine the Zonai pedestal by the large hatch. This triggers the appearance of 5 waypoints on your map, each corresponding to a lock mechanism that fastens the hatch in place. Head to the north side of the hatch. The door to the right can be opened by grabbing the nearby icicle with Ultra Hand and gluing it onto the broken crank candle. Pull it to the left to open the adjacent barred gate. The first lock awaits directly behind. Activate Tulin's power in the direction of the lock mechanism to release it. Your next objective is in the ship's hold. Glide from the main deck to the floating platform on the east side of the ship. You should spot an egg-shaped lamp in a small room at the very bottom of the ship. Sprint and glide towards that room with as much momentum as possible, and call on Tulin's power to give you a boost. Eliminate the lone construct guard, then activate the lock with Tulin's assistance. Head up the stairs and the ladder to the north when you're ready. Up the ladder, move into the hallway, almost directly in front of you. Follow the hallway to its south end. Ascend through the archway above just before you reach the gap in the floor, then glide to the other side. You can rotate the crank's handle in the corner just beyond the gap to create a shortcut. From a position between the crank and the stairs, activate Ascend to reach the floor level above. Make your way to the room to the south. The rotating lever hanging from the ceiling has no arm that you can manipulate, so it's up to you to create one. Grab the stone shard at the nearby corner and attach it vertically to the axle in a low position. Rotate the lever manually with Ultra Hand for a few seconds, then cast Recall on it. Go through the gateway while it's open. Head up the ladder, eliminate the construct on the upper floor, and have Tulin activate the lock with his power. Exit the building, heading straight east, and drop from the edge of the ship. Glide onto the trampoline boat and turn around. You'll notice an opening blocked by stalactites. Fire a few arrows to clear a path, then glide through. Head to the northern part of the hallway, cast Recall on the rotating wheel, and ride it to the other side. A crank is available there, giving you an opportunity to create an additional shortcut. The gears controlling the gate to the fourth lock are disconnected from the ones that are spinning. Shoot an arrow at any stalactite on the ceiling and grab the resulting icicle with Ultra Hand. Rotate the icicle horizontally and use it to connect the stationary cogwheel to the rotating one. Glue the icicle in that position to open the gate, and have Tulin open the lock just beyond. Return to the ship's main deck by using Ascend twice, and ride the updraft coming out of the hatch and glide towards the roof of the tower on the north side of the ship. Grab the large stone panels and move them aside to reveal a vertical shaft. Your goal is to make a controlled descent in the shaft while avoiding the laser beams. The chamber with the lock awaits at the bottom on the north side of the shaft. You are now ready to return to the main deck and activate the Zonai pedestal. This will trigger a boss battle.
Okay, let's go! That thing must be what's causing the blizzard! We've got to take it down!
This boss battle takes place in midair, with a permanent updraft keeping you aloft. You face a massive monster who has 3 weak points that you need to hit, though these are initially protected by spikes. It will regularly fire at you the spikes covering its weak points. This is your chance to strike, either with successive arrow hits or by diving through the weak point. Do not waste time. After you destroy the 3 weak points and deplete half of your foe's health gauge, the battle enters the second phase. Bulgara now generates tornadoes and sends them your way. Other than this new attack, the monster's behavior remains unchanged. Destroy the 3 weak points a second time to defeat it. After the battle, you'll be rewarded with a heart container. Speak to Tulin to trigger a cutscene and receive his vow. It was time for the next sage, Yunobo, the Sage of Fire. On arrival to Goron City, you'll immediately notice the strange behavior of its inhabitants and the suspicious glow in their eyes. Speak to Bluto, the elder in the middle of town, to trigger the Yunobo of Goron City main quest.
You all talking about marbled rock roast, are ya? Huh. It's nothing to worry about, in my opinion. Now stop flapping your rock chompers and get over here, Goro! Huh? What could you want?
You now need to make your way to Yunobo Co HQ. You can get to this destination by following the main road. When you reach the top of the hill north of Goron City, however, you can speed up your journey by speaking to Dugby, the young Goron next to a minecart. This triggers a short side quest that simply requires you to place a cart on the nearby track and glue a fan facing outward onto it. After the minecart ride, head to Yunobo Co HQ to purchase the Flamebreaker armor for 700 rupees. When you are ready to proceed, head to the cave marked by a waypoint a short distance to the east. After the cutscene that takes place inside, a mini-boss battle begins. Your opponent charges at you with fiery rolling attacks. Dodge these by sprinting sideways. Each time you evade an assault, your adversary will be stunned, giving you a chance to hit him with melee attacks. Repeat this strategy until his health meter is depleted. Once he returns to his senses, Yunobo will join you as an ally and contribute his power of fire. You can try this out immediately. Launch him with the large glowing blocks obstructing the exit on the south side of the chamber to clear a path. The fastest way to reach your next destination is to ride a cart on the track that connects Yunobo Co HQ to Goron City. Grab the nearby fan with Ultra Hand and carry it with you down the slope to the north. You'll find a minecart on another track here. Glue the fan onto the cart and hop on board. You are now at the Death Mountain West site. A short walk to the southeast, you will notice two sets of rails. The inner track is the one you need to use. Place a cart on it with Ultra Hand, glue an outward facing fan onto the cart, hop onto it, and hit the fan to turn it on. Yunobo has an important role to play during this journey. Every time you notice an obstacle on the track, press A to activate his power and clear the way. The Sitsum Shrine awaits just below the wooden platform at the end of the track, so don't miss the opportunity to activate it and create a travel point. When you're ready to continue, head up the ramp and speak to Yunobo to trigger a cutscene.
I think it was near here. When I came up the mountain, I saw her. The princess was standing right here, Goro. And then she gave me this fancy mask to wear around. After that, oh, jeez. It's no use. I can't remember anything that happened after that. Dude! Oh? There she is! Princess! Princess Zelda! We need to talk to you! It's dangerous.
Grab the fan plane in front of you with Ultra Hand and rotate it so that it lies flat on the platform, facing outward. Hop onto it and interact with the steering stick to take off. In this sequence, you're pitted against 3 enormous heads that protrude from Death Mountain. The moment you have a target in sight, press A to have Yunobo charge at it. The battle ends after you defeated all 3 heads. Free fall into Death Mountain Chasm to proceed. When you reach the depths, glide towards the Moostis light route to the west. Activate it to illuminate the surrounding area. You must now head northwest up a series of ramps. The path you need to follow is indicated by Goron statues. Just head in the direction that they are looking in. When you reach it, activate the Misisi light route. From here, the Fire Temple's entrance is directly to the west. You can head there on foot or ride a cart on the track a short distance to the south. Speak to Yunobo in front of the entrance to trigger a cutscene. When play resumes, have him shatter the marbled rock blocking the main gate. Start by activating the Zonai pedestal, the gate leading to the dungeon's boss's bark. You'll need to remove 5 locks to be able to go through. When you're in front of the ramp that leads to the pedestal, take the path to the south. Eliminate the construct and then cross the first river of lava by using a slab as a stepping stone. Pick up a hydrant with Ultra Hand and place it in an upright position by the lava pool. Then strike it to activate it. When a first lava slab has formed, pick it up and set it aside until a second one appears. Glue these two slabs together, then add a third once it is ready to create a long bridge. Hop into the cart and hit it to power the fan. You'll need to send Yunobo at the rail track switcher to escape the loop. When the cart stops at the barrier, head to the south. Eliminate the firelight to stop it from being a nuisance. You now need to grab a hydrant with Ultra Hand and activate it by the lava pool at the bottom of the ramp. Assemble two slabs to create a bridge across the pool, then add a third to form an upward ramp toward the marbled rock block. You can then have Yunobo shatter it with a charge. Go through the hole and you will notice a gong at the far end of the room. Ask Yunobo to charge at it. This will release one of the 5 temple locks. Retrace your steps and resume your journey by placing a fan-equipped cart on the track. Hit the Zonai switch for your cart to perform a U-turn. Hop aboard again and hit the switcher in front of you with Yunobo's power to be redirected toward the right-hand track. When you're stopped by a barrier, cross the suspended bridge. Place the cart on the track and hit the nearby Zonai switch. This lifts a second barrier and lowers a track section. You can now ride your cart across the gap. Launch Yunobo at the marbled rock block in the lava. This reveals a hydrant that will start generating lava slabs. Jump onto one of these and immediately cast Recall onto it to be taken to the other side of the lava pool. This is where you can activate a second gong with Yunobo's power. Return to your cart and flip it around. Shoot an arrow at the previous Zonai switch across the gap. It's fairly distant, so you will likely need to aim high to account for gravity. Once the track is reconfigured as a ramp, ride to its end. You arrive at a large hub with 5 different tracks revolving around a central lattice platform. Grab a rocket and fuse it with your current shield, then head to the 2 tracks in the southwest corner of the hub. Standing at the edge of the platform, hold ZL to ignite the rocket. Link will be propelled upward, enabling you to glide to the elevated platform to the southwest across the gap. Glue the 2 sections of this broken suspended bridge at the end of the room. You can then launch Yunobo across it. The bridge will act as a ramp, sending the Goron upward and enabling him to shatter the marble rock in the ceiling. A lattice cube falls through the hole you created, climb onto it and cast Recall. The cube will carry you to the floor above, where a third gong awaits. Ask Yunobo to charge at it. Head back across the suspended bridge and hit the Zonai switch to restore the track leading back to the 3rd floor hub. Hop into the cart on the easternmost track and hit the fan to cross the gap. When your cart stops, transfer onto the perpendicular track and ride it to its end. You can shatter a marbled rock block here to reveal a Zonai switch that creates an optional shortcut. Walk to the eastern edge of the platform and aim with your bow. You need to hit the 2 Zonai switches across the gap to the southeast. Start by activating the right-hand one to realign the track in front of you, and then shoot the second switch, this time to raise the track, connecting it with the eastern building. Transfer a car over and ride to the end of the track. Hop into the car on the west side of the room and ride it to the end of this new track. Go around the corner and across the suspended bridge beyond it. You can now safely drop onto the balcony below. Hit the Zonai switch by the lattice wall section to lower a portion of the next track and lift the barrier that was blocking it. This enables you to ride a cart to the end. A gong on an elevated position is visible here, though you have no way to reach it yet. Launch Yunobo onto the rectangular lava slab that forms a ramp toward a marbled rock block. Shattering this reveals a hydrant that starts generating lava slabs. Grab one of these and glue it perpendicularly to an end of the long rectangular slab. They need to form a right angle. Rotate this object and position it by the lava pool so that it forms a ramp towards the gong. This will enable you to send Yunobo flying to strike it. Grab your ramp and turn around. Place the ramp near the edge of the broken bridge, aligned towards the large marbled rock block on the other side. Call in Yunobo's power to shatter the block. You now need to get through the new opening. There are a number of ways to cross the gap. If you have the requisite capsules, you can employ a spring or a rocket attached to a shield to fly high and then glide over. Drop through the hole in the floor again to land right in front of the final gong. You can now hit the crystal to raise the barred gate and activate the Zonai pedestal to open the way to a large round arena. Enter the temple's arena and launch Yunobo at the curved wall that surrounds it, where he will shatter the marbled rock block above.
Where's Zelda? That's really, really big! Oh no! Is Zelda inside the monster? Save her, Goro!
The most straightforward way to harm the boss is by launching Yunobo at its legs. Each successful hit weakens the monster's balance. The creature is usually stunned after 2 impacts, giving you an opportunity to quickly climb up and unleash melee combos on its vulnerable eye. Patiently repeat disable and damage cycles until you deplete half of the boss health meter. At this point, the second phase of the battle will begin. During the second phase, Goma adopts a new behavior. It will now take up residence on the ceiling and attempt to surround you with marbled rocks. Whenever you have an opening, launch Yunobo toward the arena's curved wall, carefully aligning his trajectory so that he strikes one of Goma's legs. Each successful hit will cause your foe to fall to the ground, giving you an opportunity to attack the eye repeatedly. You can then repeat this process until the boss is defeated. After the battle, collect the heart container and speak to Yunobo to complete the questline. And with that, we've completed 2 of the 5 sages. Next up is Sidon, the Sage of Water. On arrival at Zora's domain, speak to the Green Zora at the north end of the Great Zora Bridge to trigger the sludge-covered statue. You can clean the sludge from the statue in the middle of the round plaza by throwing splash fruit at it. Speak to Yona again once the good deed is complete. This initiates the Sidon of Zora quest. Sidon awaits at Mipha Court on the summit of Polymus Mountain.
Is it really you? It's good to see you, my friend.
He'll ask you to visit Giotto at Toto Lake. Make your way to Toto Lake, which is situated northwest of Mipha Court. Giotto can be found by the ruins on the west shore of the lake. Speak to him to trigger a short quest, the Broken Slate. Walk a few steps to the southeast and you should spot the missing fragment of the old Zora slate, partially covered with sludge. Throw splash fruit or blue choo-choo jelly to wash it clean. Then grab the fragment with Ultra Hand and put it back in its slot. This initiates a new quest called Clues to the Sky. Your new objective is to find King Dorephan. If you visit the throne room where he should theoretically be, you will hear 3 children discussing a secret place. To avoid interrupting the conversation, approach from the rear of the room, then hop into the small pool and stay out of sight. You will discover that the king can be found in a shelter with clean water behind a waterfall, located somewhere between Polymus Mountain and Zora's domain. Leaving Zora's domain via the city's eastern bridge. As soon as you see the first waterfall, swim through it to discover the pristine sanctum. Ascend behind the waterfall to arrive at the top. Climb up the stairs to meet Dorephan. He will give you 5 king scales and suggest that you speak to his son. Before you do so, though, you might remember that Yona asked you to pay her a visit once you had met with Sidon. Now is the perfect time to do so. Talk to her to trigger the Restoring the Zora Armor quest. Yona needs an ancient Arowana in order to repair the Zora's armor. Once you have at least one in your inventory, warp back to Zora's domain and give it to Yona. She'll offer you the Zora armor in return, which will enable you to swim up waterfalls. Jump from the eastern end of Mipha Court and glide to reach the lower end of the falls. With the Zora armor equipped, Link will automatically begin swimming up when you reach the waterfall and arrive on Floating Scales Island. Look southwest from the platform at the top. From this perspective, you'll see that the rocks floating around the island are arranged in the shape of a droplet. Aim your bow, attach one of the king's scales given to you by Dorephan to an arrow, and shoot through the droplet. This will cause a pillar of light to appear at East Reservoir Lake. Glide back to Sidon at Mipha Court to inform him of this development. After the cutscene, a sludge-like boss appears. Sidon then introduces his power of water. Immediately turn toward the boss and attack to hit it with a water projectile. Once you have washed away the sludge from the monster, you can fight it normally. Repeat this cycle until the creature falls. When you're ready to proceed, join Sidon at East Reservoir Lake. After the cutscene, jump into the whirlpool created by Sidon. Once in the ancient Zora waterworks, use an arrow enhanced with a bomb flower or a hammer to shatter the destructible rocks blocking the pipe. The water released will fill the pool, enabling you to swim to the stairs on the east side. You have a second destructible rock to deal with on the pipe on your left in the next room. Water will again fill the area. Swim toward the broken bridge, also on the west side of the room, standing on one of the wooden boards in the area. Grab another board nearby with Ultra Hand and drop it underneath the bridge. This enables you to ascend through the bridge to emerge on top. Run to the northwest end of the ledge and jump into the pipe extending from the wall. Follow the tunnels until you reach a round room, where water is pouring from a metal grate in the ceiling. Use Ascend to reach the level above, where you can shatter another destructible rock to flood the main chamber with additional water. Swim to the structure in the middle of the room to activate the Zonai pedestal. After you return to Sidon at East Reservoir Lake, you can swim up the newly formed waterfall to reach Wellspring Island in the sky. This next part is just as tedious as Tulin's section. I'll save us both some time. Oh, look at that, we made it up to the temple. After speaking with Sidon, interact with the Zonai pedestal to trigger a cutscene. You will now have 4 waypoints on your map. Each waypoint corresponds to a water wheel that you need to activate to open the temple's faucets. When you're ready, drop onto the walkway to the northwest side. Vertical fire geysers obstruct the doorway. If you turn on Ultra Hand though, you can grab a hoverstone from beyond the flames. Position it beneath the doorway's lintel to shield you from its hazard. Once on the other side, you can press the floor switch to deactivate the geysers. This next part's kind of confusing in the book, but essentially you just position these little floating blocks, you move the ball over, and you eventually get it up to where you need it. Next, you grab the hoverstone in the corner and glue it onto the orb. Rotate it so that you can push it forward and insert the orb into its slot. With the alcove on the opposite wall now open, press A when close to Sidon to prime him for action, and press Y while facing the water wheel in the alcove to power it. Return to the first floor level, then jump onto the broken sections of the bridge to reach the temple's southwest wing, where you will need to eliminate a few constructs. Wash away the sludge on the diagonal block in the northeast corner. Retrieve the large orb floating in the pool with Ultra Hand and place it into a bubble. You can then follow suit to accompany it. Grab a hoverstone with Ultra Hand and glue it to the top of the sluice gate. You can now raise the barrier and the hoverstone will keep it open. Quickly grab the orb and drop it onto the receptacle. Call on Sidon's power to activate the water wheel. Make your way back to the temple's central platform and this time look to the northeast. You will see a fish statue with its mouth blocked by sludge. Wash it away by shooting an arrow fused with splash fruit or choo-choo jelly. You can then swim up the waterfall and glide to the northeast wing of the temple. Head to the pool at the foot of the next waterfall. Grab one of the 2 stone slabs at the bottom of the pool and glue it onto any tooth of the nearby rotating wheel. Just like shown in the image, repeat this with a second stone slab, attaching it to the tooth so that it's diametrically opposed to the first one. Grab either slab with Ultra Hand and position it in the flow of the waterfall to prime the rotation of the wheel. This will generate electricity. You now have to connect the 2 electrical nodes. Grab the next available orb of water and position it between them to complete the circuit. This opens the gate to the water wheel, which you can activate with Sidon's power. The final water wheel awaits at the southeast wing of the butterfly. Eliminate the firelight and ascend through the ceiling it was hanging from. Leap onto the 2 hover stones, jump from here toward the cube that spins at high speed at the top of the small tower. Trigger the slow motion effect and shoot an arrow enhanced with splash fruit through this opening to wash away the sludge inside. You can then fire a standard arrow to trigger the crystal. This will empty the pool, giving you access to the final water wheel. Activate it with Sidon's power. Return to the Zonai pedestal on the temple's central platform. It's now time for the next boss battle.
Look! The sludge dissolved! The domain is surely safe now. Huh? Not good! This strange creature must be responsible. Ready. Let's go, Link.
All you have to do is jump and pull out your bow while airborne, attach splash fruit or blue choo-choo jelly to your arrow, and it will take 2 such hits to reveal the Muktarok's weaker form, at which point you can rush over and set about it with melee combos. Rinse and repeat until you are victorious. After the monster falls, collect the heart container and speak to Sidon at the top of the steps. And with that, we have completed our 3rd sage. As you make your way to Gerudo Town, where this questline officially begins, make a stop at Karakar Bazaar. Sala, the owner of a small stall on the west side, will sell you the Desert Vo headband for 450 rupees. From Karakar Bazaar, Gerudo Town is to the southwest. Visit the tunnel dug in the middle of the steps leading to the throne room to discover the Gerudo shelter underneath the palace. Unfortunately, as Link is a Vo, he is not granted entry. There are a few ways to enter the shelter. An easy one is to talk to the child in the street on the northwest side of town. Have a second conversation at the end of that same street, and a secret passage will be revealed in a nearby room, a hole in the floor hidden by a desk that you can move with Ultra Hand. The Reju of Gerudo Town quest will be triggered once you talk with Buliara. Riding the updraft just north of town will enable you to glide to your friend's position.
Missed again. Can't hit my mark. Won't do anyone any good. It's you. This changes things. I didn't expect to see you here. But then, you always show up in unusual times.
After the cutscene, shoot an arrow at the dummy target once Riju's aura engulfs it. Repeat the exercise, this time on 3 dummy targets. You are now required to lend a hand to Link's friend at Karakar Bazaar. After the cutscene, utilize Riju's power. Aim at the Gibdos or at the ground in the middle of a group when the aura engulfs them to wipe them all out at once. Your main target, however, is the glowing pink growth on the Gibdo hive. Eliminate the remaining Gibdos to continue. Warp back to Gerudo Town and speak to Riju on the steps leading to the throne room, then once again after she moves inside. Prepare for the battle to come by visiting the 2 adjacent courtyards. We suggest you ask Pada to deploy her barricade at the east gate. In the other courtyard, a solid tactical approach is to ask Teak to deploy her forces at the west gate. Tell Riju that you're ready. In the sequence that follows, during which Riju must survive, focus on destroying the 3 Gibdo hives with their power, starting with the north one, then the east one, and finally the west one before you finish off all remaining Gibdos. After the battle, meet Riju in the underground shelter. You now have 3 red pillars to find in the western half of the desert. Warp or climb up to Soryatanag Shrine above Gerudo Town. From this vantage point, you can clearly see the first red pillar to the southwest, within gliding distance. Shatter the destructible rocks in the middle of the platform to reveal a large beam of light. Once this has been taken care of, ascend through the ceiling above you to arise on top of the pillar. From the top of the first pillar above the sand shroud, you can clearly see that the beam of light points toward the second red pillar to the west. There are 2 updrafts along the way, just north of the light beam. Move further west and you will find a smaller pillar that you can ascend onto via a protruding ledge. Rotate the lever at the top to raise the second pillar until its mirror is hit by the beam from the first one. You can now follow the path of the redirected light beam to make your way to the third and final red pillar. The mirror on its roof is not aligned correctly. Unfortunately, the arms of the lever designed to rotate it are broken. Glue a broken lever arm onto a hover stone, then activate the hover stone and raise it as high as you can can on the pillar's northeast side. Ascend through the adjacent lattice walkway. Lift it as high as possible again, but this time ascend through it. You can now jump from this hover stone onto the roof, grab the arm, detach it, and glue it onto the lever. The final step is to rotate the lever so that it redirects the light beam toward the first red pillar located to the north. Once all 3 light beams are correctly aligned and form an equilateral triangle, a lightning stone marked by a waypoint appears at the center of the triangle. After the cutscene that occurs on arrival, shoot an arrow at the lightning stone and reveal the lightning temple. Head southwest toward the temple. Prime Riju's power, then shoot an arrow at the large glowing pink growth that blocks the entrance once her aura engulfs it.
Look, it's stirring up the sand trap. It must be responsible for all this. Come on, let's take it down together.
The key to this brief encounter is to hit the monster twice in a row with your ally's power. Prime it once, wait until Riju's aura engulfs the creature, then shoot an arrow at it. This opens up a window for you to fire a second lightning strike at the beast. If you succeed, the battle ends right away. After the Queen Gibdo flies away, you are back in front of the temple. Prime Riju's power and direct her lightning strike at the glowing pink growth blocking the entrance. The entrance room features multiple sand mounds. The one in the middle reveals a floor switch that you can step on to open the gate. Head down the stairs and run to the end of the long bridge. In the room to the northwest, step on the large stone panel on the floor to drop to the level below. This enables you to retrieve a Gerudo scimitar from a coffin covered by 2 stone slabs. But the slabs are the real prize here. Transfer them onto the large stone panel, then cast Recall on the ladder to be taken back to the upper level. Pick up the stone slabs with Ultra Hand and carry them angled diagonally into the room with the fire geysers. Position it vertically against the first set of geysers. Repeat this with the second set and you are free to cross. Step on the floor switch and go through the newly opened archway. In the next section, large flame balls roll down a corridor. Cast Recall on one and sprint toward it. Turn right at the end of the corridor, then step on the floor switch to enable Riju to join you. In the large rectangular room, drop to the lower level, the Gibdo hive will come to life. Destroy it by using Riju's power. Leave via the southeast exit when you're ready. You now arrive at the Room of Hopeful Light. Defeat the construct, then clear the mound that contains a partly buried mirror. Grab the mirror and position it in the middle of the vertical light beam. Redirect the light toward the light-sensitive switch above the gate to open it. This gives you access to a long set of stairs. The long set of stairs leads to this temple's main hub, the Room of Ascension. Examine the Zonai pedestal to create a travel point and to reveal 4 waypoints on your map. Remove the 2 stone blocks in the east corner of the room not far from the pedestal. This reveals a hole in the wall. The temple's first battery awaits on the other side. Use Riju's power to charge it. Now move to the Room of Ascension's south corner. The stone block protruding from the floor can be moved aside with Ultra Hand to uncover a powerful updraft. Ride the updraft to the top, then glide toward the north corner of the room. You can go through a small alcove on the 4th floor level. The presence of a lit lantern makes it easy to spot. You will reach 2 rotating wheels, each with an opening that you can go through. Before you do so, cast Recall on the first one, then cancel the effect when the openings of the 2 wheels are aligned. Go through both openings and remove the stone blocks from the wall with Ultra Hand. This reveals a light beam. With the openings in the wheels already aligned, the beam soon activates a small light-sensitive switch that raises the barred gate. After the wheels perform rotation, a second light-sensitive switch across the Room of Ascension is triggered. Make your way to it via the stairs to your right and step on the floor switch. The statue holding the switch slides into the wall, revealing a new passageway. Head down the stairs and grab a stone block with Ultra Hand. Position it horizontally between the 2 spiked walls to prevent them from closing in on you. Step onto the floor switch on the other side to enable Riju to join you. Grab a stone block from the wall and position it vertically to block the spiked ceiling that regularly slams to the floor. Drop through the hole in the floor on the east side of the room. In the round room with the spinning wall, grab a stake and move to the southwest wall. You will see a light-sensitive switch appear intermittently between 2 egg-shaped lanterns. Drive the stake into the wall, inches to the right of the light-sensitive switch. Then place the mirror in the middle middle of the beam to redirect the light toward the switch. This causes the grate above to open. Return to the floor above with Ascend. Place the mirror in the middle of the beam to redirect it toward the light-sensitive switch across the room. With a large lattice gate now open, you are free to charge the second battery with Riju's power. Ride the updraft in the Room of Ascension and check out the southwest wall on the 5th floor level. You should notice a narrow opening that you can squeeze through. This leads to the Room of Natural Light. Grab the stone block and position it vertically in the middle of the light beam. Pick up a mirror from behind the partly collapsed wall. Place the mirror onto the stone block so that it redirects the light toward the Room of Ascension. Back in the Room of Ascension, grab the statue immediately in front of you with Ultra Hand and pull it all the way to the left. Run to the statue closest to where the beam now points to and push it along its rail until it redirects the beam to the northwest. Glide to where the light beam now points. Step on the floor switch for the statue to slide into the wall. You are now in the Room of Offered Light. After clearing the enemies in the Gibdo hive, glue a balloon onto a lattice slab. Position this contraption in the middle of the beam of light, attach a mirror to it, then pick up the torch on the pillar and light it. The slab will slowly rise up with the mirror soon redirecting the beam onto the light-sensitive switch. This lifts the large lattice gate, enabling you to charge the third battery with Riju's power. Return to the Room of Ascension, then ride the updraft to reach the 5th floor level. Move the southwest statue aside so that the light beam goes across the room. Now push the two statues you haven't touched yet along their rails. Once positioned, they should now redirect the beam onto a light-sensitive switch in an alcove below. Move Link directly underneath the alcove and use Ascend to emerge right next to the floor switch revealed by your previous labors. Step onto it and the statue here will slide into the wall, unlocking a new passage. You reach a long vertical shaft where multiple fire geysers complicate your descent. Glide down slowly, taking care to avoid these hazards. The Room of Light and Flame awaits at the bottom. Step onto the floor switch to let Riju in, then charge the 4th battery with her power. When you are ready, examine the Zonai pedestal and the Room of Ascension. After the cutscene, destroy the glowing growth on the wall with Riju's power to trigger the arrival of Queen Gibdo.
Let's go. We'll finish it off here and now.
The only way to harm the monster at first is to hit her with elemental attacks. An arrow enhanced with shock fruit or yellow choo-choo jelly, for instance, would work great. The best course of action is to assail her with Riju's power while she is still in her weakened state. If you successfully accomplish this, Queen Gibdo will be temporarily stunned, giving you a chance to perform powerful combos with your strongest weapon. When Gibdo's health bar reaches the halfway mark, she activates the hives at the 4 corners of the arena. Gibdos will soon swarm the battlefield. Added complications aside, your core objective is unchanged. Weaken the Queen Gibdo with an elemental arrow, then unleash Riju's power while the Queen's body is white to stun her, which will provide a brief window for melee attacks. Repeat this cycle until the boss falls. Once the Queen Gibdo has been defeated, pick up the heart container and speak to Riju to complete the quest and receive her vow. We now have the main 4 stages completed. We can go beat the game, right? No, there's still a couple of things to do. Head to Lookout Landing and climb the ladders leading to the platform underneath the telescope on the roof of Pura's lab. Talk to her to advance the Crisis at Hyrule Castle quest. Your objective is to reach the 2nd gatehouse at Hyrule Castle. An ambush awaits when you arrive, so have your weapons at the ready. To make the fight against the boss Bokoblin easier, try climbing onto a window and jumping off to assail the beast with slow motion headshots. From the top of the 2nd gatehouse, glide to the northeast. Drop from the opening in the fortified wall and glide down through the hole in the castle library roof. The mysterious figure disappears again, leaving you with a Hynix and a few elemental choo-choos to fight. The Hynix is equipped with metal leg armor that makes it largely impervious to melee strikes but highly vulnerable to lightning. By eliminating a nearby yellow choo-choo, you can hit 2 birds with 1 stone. The choo-choo falls, and its explosion will shock the Hinniks, enabling you to follow up with melee combos. Once it's defeated, head up the stairs to the north and follow the waypoint. The mysterious figure will vanish again when you approach, and a group of Gibdos will attack. Finish off any survivors before you continue. Keep going up the stairs until you are back outside. Go through the tunnel infested with Horriblins, then continue south. Ascend through the ceiling where the ice lake is located, then climb up the end of the steps, where you ascend again to arrive directly inside Princess Zelda's room. The mysterious figure will appear one more time. You can annihilate the 3 Fire Breath Lizalfos that arrive afterwards with ice elemental attacks. Leave the room via the hole in the wall to the northwest and glide down to the gateway beneath the tower. This time you are ambushed by Ice Keese, and more problematically, a strong moblin. Freeze the moblin repeatedly, each time shattering the ice with your most powerful weapon to make the most of the damage bonus. Retrace your steps outside, climb up the cliff to reach the level above, and head up the steps. Turn right when you reach the final landing and jump from the end of the south ledge. From there, you can glide down to a gateway. In this new ambush, you have to eliminate 3 shock-like creatures. Dodge their projectiles carefully and hit their weak points with an arrow before you finish them off. Your final destination is the castle's throne room, the Sanctum.
At last. I have been waiting for you to arrive. Now, Link, there is something here I want to show you. What do you think? Hyrule Castle, perfect and glorious. Does it awaken memories? Memories of our time here? Well, really take in every detail. After all, this place will be the last thing you ever see.
The fabled swordsman who endured my corruption, who has persisted in slaughtering my servants. Interesting. How is it that you survived my attack? It must have been that wretched arm. No matter. You will not live to see another sunrise. Did my puppet entertain you? She made it so easy to mislead you, to keep you occupied. But such an indirect approach is no longer needed. End this hero's life, my dark servant. Cut him down.
Once you enter the Sanctum, a boss battle will begin with Phantom Ganon, but not just one of them, 5 manifestations of Link's arch enemy. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Employ perfect guard and perfect dodge counters to punish most attacks. When the boss's health meter reaches the halfway mark, the second phase of the battle begins. The tactics from the first phase are just as valid here.
It seems there is more to you than the power Rauru has gifted. But not much
Link, we are here!
Those who carry the secret stones.
Just what is this thing?
You do not recognize me. Perhaps there are limits to the knowledge the secret stones impart. stand before Ganondorf. The foolish actions of your ancestors served only to delay my ascension. Allow me to show you the world that was and will be again when I have been restored. Rise, my servants. Sweep over Hyrule with the power I have granted. Eliminate this kingdom and her allies. Leave no survivors. Cannot hope to escape your fate. My power will sweep across this land. You need but await the inevitable end.
Was that the Demon King we were warned about? It all really happened?
This is dire. The Demon King, the man who nearly destroyed the world. Ganondorf. With his return, everyone's in danger.
Oh, this isn't good. If that really was him, we're in real trouble.
Hold on. He must not be at his full strength. Otherwise, why flee instead of finishing us off? We should return to Lookout Landing and decide what to do next. Link, you should come too.
After the Phantoms have been defeated, collect the heart container. When you're ready to continue, head for Lookout Landing. After reporting the events that took place at Hyrule Castle to Pura, which initiates the Find the Fifth Sage mission, you are asked to investigate ruins from the Age of Legends. You might recall that large ring ruins have fallen onto Kakariko Village. Head to the north of the village to meet Paya and Taro. This triggers the Secret of the Ring Ruins quest. We used the route shown in the picture in order to get up there nice and quickly. Once inside, take a picture of the Ring Ruin stone slab, then use this end to leave and glide back to Taro to show him your findings. There's a lot of dialogue here, but the gist of it is that there's a fifth sage named Minoru and something about a dragon island in the sky. And so they head to the Farron region, where we soon follow. Calip waits for you by a tent at the foot of the Popla Foothills Skyview Tower. Speak to him to discover Taro's whereabouts. You will find Taro's campsite in the middle of Dracozu Lake. Look for a tent and a campfire. Taro himself is actually a short way to the east, inside the chamber at the base of the tall stone dragon statue. Talk to him, then open the treasure chest on the platform above to obtain the charged shirt. To solve the puzzle presented to you by Taro, you have to visit 3 more stone dragon statues situated on the banks of the Dracozu River. Head south to arrive at the first of these. The entrance is blocked by destructible rocks. Shatter them, then receive the charged trousers from the treasure chest inside. Resume your journey down the Dracozu River. After you pass a Lizalfos outpost, you will arrive at a third Zonai ruin. This time its entrance is blocked by roots. Cut them with a blade. The treasure chest inside the chamber contains the charged headdress. You now have all the pieces to solve the puzzle. Follow the river to its end and you will find one final chamber at the base of a stone dragon statue. Equip the 3 pieces of the charged attire, select a Zonai charge, then drop it onto the altar inside. This reveals the Thunderhead Isles. Warp back to the Popla Foothills Skyview Tower and interact with its launching platform to be propelled skyward, then glide toward the south. You will reach the first floating islet on the Thunderhead Isles. This video is already really long. While I did follow the book exactly to a T, oh wow, look at that, we made it to the final island. Go through the opening directly north of the shrine and examine the large door. You need to have at least 10 heart containers to pass the test of strength here. But I only had 9, so I went to a couple shrines and got my 10th heart container. Once this feat has been accomplished, examine the relic on the pedestal to trigger a cutscene. This completes the Secret of the Ring Ruins quest, and marks the beginning of the guidance from ages past. Pick up the relic and glue it onto a wing that you will find down the ramp. Add a steering stick and a fan and you're ready to take off from the nearby launch track. Fly downward following the green ray of light emitted by the relic. Your goal is to land in front of the owl statue at the north end of Tobio's Hollow. On arrival, take the relic in your hands and drop it on the stone pedestal. After the cutscene, collect the relic and walk down the ramp. Then place the relic on the device in the middle of the octagonal platform. This triggers another cutscene where we hear Minoru's voice and we are taken down toward the depths. When you arrive at your destination, grab the relic with Ultra Hand and rotate it until it is suitably aligned, then insert it into the head of the construct mold. Your goal is now to restore the 4 missing parts of Minoru's vessel, with each one found in its corresponding depot. We suggest you begin with the left leg depot to the southeast. On arrival, examine the Zonai pedestal. A box containing the left leg of Minoru's construct will drop in front of you. Drop the box onto either rail-mounted lattice platform, hop on to join it, then hit a rocket. Both you and the box will be propelled upward and land on the intermediate floor level. Glue 2 rockets onto the box and transfer onto the nearby ramp. Use the rotating lever to adjust the ramp's inclination. It should not point exactly at the platform across the pool, but just above to ensure a safe landing. Hit either rocket to initiate the short flight. Grab a cart with Ultra Hand through the lattice wall, then move it through the laser beams. You can then glue the box onto the cart, attach 2 rockets, and place the box on the launching track, directing it toward the mold of Minoru's body. Ignite the rockets and you will reach your objective almost instantly. Once you drop it near the mold, the box breaks apart and reveals the left leg of the body. Grab it with Ultra Hand and insert it into the mold. Next up is the right leg depot. Interact with the Zonai pedestal to unlock a box, this time containing the right leg. Transfer the box onto one of the nearby lattice platforms, step onto it yourself, then activate the fans. Once at the top, grab the box with Ultra Hand and move it to safety. Unstick one of the fans and take it with you as well. You must now get the box to ride on a long spiraling rail by attaching it to a C-shaped hook. The solution is to rotate the hook so that it resembles a backwards C shape. Glue the box vertically onto the base of the hook, then add your fan in a central position near the top. Shoot the fan to activate it and quickly leap onto the side of the box. If all goes well, this should take you all the way to the top. All you need at this point is a wing to glide back to the factory. And the book doesn't say it, but we also put that one in the mold. Next up, the left arm depot. As previously, examine the Zonai pedestal to release the box containing Minoru's limb. Hit the wheel in the first room. What looked like a wall will turn out to be a gate. In the next room, remove the 2 wheels from the top of the gate and glue them onto the long sides of the box. Add a steering stick and you have a vehicle that will take you across the lava. To cross the next lava pit, you will need the exact same components, but assembled differently. This time, glue the wheels onto the short sides of the box, rotate the steering stick accordingly, and the crossing should prove uneventful. When on the other side, detach both wheels from the box and glue one onto the side of the concrete block hanging from the chain by the gate. Now glue the wheel to the gate. When you activate the wheel, the chain should wind around it, lifting the door in the process. You are now at the building's exit. Shoot the fan most distant from the gate. Take the fan and glue onto the box along with the nearby steering stick, and you now have a boat that you can ride back to the construct factory. On arrival, insert the left arm into its corresponding slot. Lastly, there's the right arm depot. Once inside the depot, examine the Zonai pedestal to unlock the box containing the right arm. Take the box up the conveyor belt ramps. Once at the top, your goal is to cross the gap using the electrified beam. Lay the box flat on the floor and glue 2 wheels onto its top corners. Now flip the vehicle and position it onto the beam. Hit the contraption when you're ready. If all goes well, the vehicle will cross the bridge in a straight line. Back outside, build a vehicle to drive or fly back to the construct factory. Insert the right arm into its slot when you arrive at the mold to trigger a cutscene. Move close to Minoru's construct and hop onto her back. When you're ready, walk forward to the armory platform. Facing the shelves, attach the spiked iron ball to your left hand and a shock emitter to your right hand. Head toward the next armory to the east, where you will find a fan for your back. Follow the path to the south. At the next armory, equip the hands of Minoru's construct with a cannon and a beam emitter. When you reach the final armory, keep your cannon. Attach a spiked iron ball to the construct's other hand and place a rocket to its back. Move to the base of the collapsed staircase and hold Y. The rocket will propel you vertically to reach the entrance to the spirit temple. Examine the owl statue to trigger a cutscene, and a boss battle will ensue when you walk to the far end of the temple.
construct. I made it long ago. But the glow... It must be under the control of something monstrous. If the Demon King has turned my creation into his pawn, we must defeat it. We can do this together, Link.
This battle takes place in an arena entirely covered with gloom.
Let's go.
When the boss fires projectiles, walk laterally at a steady pace to dodge them. When it attacks you with melee blows, hold ZL to block. You can even parry to stun the seized construct directly. If this causes the boss to be forced into the barbed wire that surrounds the ring, it will suffer substantial damage. Once it's defeated, pick up the heart container and examine the secret stone to receive the Vow of Minoru. Alright, so now we can go defeat Ganon, right? Not quite. In fact, this is probably the most important part of the entire run. Getting the Master Sword. After reporting to Pura that the 5th Sage has joined you, you need to speak to the Deku Tree, which initiates the Trail of the Master Sword. However, a quick foray into the Lost Woods where the Deku Tree resides will prove unproductive. No matter where you go or how hard you try, you will invariably arrive back at the entrance. The solution is to instead dive down into the Minishi Woods Chasm, just southeast of the Great Hyrule Forest. You land in the depths right next to a Korok who suggests you follow the path to the north. A breadcrumb trail of pose will lead you straight to Korok Grove. Your goal is to make it to the light route in the central position. After activating it, turn to the southeast and climb up the steps. The flat surface of the pillar above is a clear invitation for you to use your ascend ability. Doing so will cause you to emerge in Korok Forest on the surface of Hyrule. Your next goal is to enter the Deku Tree and dive down into the chasm inside. Before you do so though, be aware that a boss battle waits at the bottom. Having as many heart containers and stamina vessels as possible is recommended. Well, it looks like it's time to do some grinding. Okay, so I did a little bit of off-camera mining. We got a bunch of hearts here, we got some stamina. I even went and got the Barbarian armor and upgraded it to level 2. Now before you say that the Barbarian armor is not the way that it's intended, look at this picture. It literally shows Link defeating the Gloom Spawn with the Barbarian armor. We also made sure to activate the Gloom Resistance effect, we have a good stock of bomb flowers, and we have a really powerful bow and spear. Time to dive down into the chasm and save the Great Deku Tree. The first phase of the fight starts with the Gloom Spawn, a bunch of hands that you probably see in your nightmares if you've played the game before. Note that you can ascend to the ledges on the south wall, and after 2 shots with my bow, they're kinda done for. Second phase is Phantom Ganon. Unlike the encounter at Hyrule Castle, you only face a single Phantom Ganon, thank goodness. Just like how we defeated them at the castle, we pretty much just used perfect dodge and absolutely destroyed Phantom Ganon. After the battle, return to Korok Forest by warping to the local shrine. Head to the stump directly above the tree's entrance to address the Great Deku Tree. The conversation triggers the Recovering the Hero Sword quest. The Master Sword is now marked with a waypoint on your map. If you have just spoken to the Great Deku Tree for the first time, the Light Dragon will often be in the vicinity of the Linder's Brow Skyview Tower. Use its launch platform to be propelled into the sky, enabling you to freefall and glide until you can land on the creature. As long as you have 2 full rings of stamina, the legendary blade will be yours. And that takes us to the finale. It's now time to defeat Demon King Ganondorf. If you are ready to set off for the final showdown between Link and his nemesis, head to Hyrule Castle and dive into the large chasm underneath the fortress. Freefall through Gloom's Approach. At the bottom of the chasm, drop into the passageway to the south and follow the only path available. You will then need to climb up a cliff in a room full of Horriblins. When you reach the large chamber where Lionel awaits, you can leave the chamber via the opening to the east by ascending through the collapsed stairs. Drop down and follow the only path available until you reach an apparent dead end. The solution here is to cast Recall on a block of ruins to be carried to the platform above. Follow the only available path until you can see the large chamber you recently left far below. After you go through a corridor filled with ice-like and ice-keese enemies, you arrive at the top of a long vertical shaft. You will notice many foes on ledges as you glide down the shaft. You can stop the fight or just ignore them. And yep, I ignored them. I'm good. Build a flying vehicle with the Zonai devices in the storage room to the west. Yeah, so I actually did this, and what's funny is it would not get me to the other side. I don't know what happened. So instead I just ascended up and made it to the other side. There's a chest hidden behind the destructible rocks on the other side of the bridge. It contains 10 bomb flowers. In the following corridor, you will encounter a few more monsters, including Gyptos. Shatter the destructible rocks that block the passage, then destroy the rocks on the right side of the room with the murals to reveal a doorway. Once you reach the end of the tunnel, dive down into the imprisoning chamber and continue on the only path available. You will soon reach a final diving platform, which will take you down to the army fight.
Link, we shall protect Hyrule together.
The Gerudo owe you for your help. You can count on me.
I will atone for my past failure. It is time to stop the Demon King.
In wave number 1, which features a bunch of bokoblins and a boss bokoblin, area of effect attacks can damage multiple enemies at once. As you can see, I just used a bunch of rubies attached to my 3-shot Lionel bow to take a bunch of them out. In wave number 2, you're up against a bunch of Lizalfos. I just used the same tactics in wave number 1 in order to take them out as well. In wave number 3, you're up against a bunch of Gyptos and Moth Gyptos. And literally the best thing you can do here is exactly what I did. Just use those rubies and take them out. And I'm sure you can guess the tactic that I used against wave number 4 here. The Moblins were no match for my rubies. Demon King's army has been defeated.
That gloom, it means but one thing. The Demon King is there. Huh?
More obstacles in our path, but our foe is mistaken if he thinks this will stop us.
We are fated to fight these beasts. Don't worry about us.
Link, we'll take care of this, Goro! You ready to see the power of a sage?
We'll be fine. We already beat them once. This'll be a breeze for sure.
It is time, Link. The rest is up to you.
Once you become separated from your friends, follow the only available path to the north where the Demon King awaits.
How disappointing. This world should be shrouded in darkness, not bathed in insufferable light. All these weak, peace-loving cowards running rampant. It would have been more satisfying to overcome a worthy foe. Regardless, I will reshape this world as it was meant to be. I will crush any opposition. I will rule. That is what a king must do. Do not look away. You witness a king's revival. And the birth of his new world.
Just like against the Phantom Ganons fought at Hyrule Castle, Ganondorf can be easily taken down by perfect dodge techniques. Don't worry, it says that in the book, I just don't really want to quote all this extra information.
What a feeling. I'd almost forgotten the thrill of battle. That feeling as blood surges in my veins. And I am not even nearing the limits of my power. Enjoy these final moments. I will be taking far more than you're on this time.
After the first phase, Ganondorf begins this new stage of the battle by refilling and extending his health meter. He also summons phantom manifestations of himself. Even though he has some new long-range attacks, Ganondorf behaves in a mostly identical way, so tactics from the first phase work equally well here. Phase 2 ends when you deplete half of the boss's extended life bar. Things aren't very different in the third phase, and the perfect dodge technique worked exceptionally well. We had defeated Demon King Ganondorf.
I will yet rule this land. And the immortal will not stand in my way. My mind, everything. Sacrifice it all to destroy you. And cast this world into eternal night.
Only one more thing to do. Demon Dragon time. The final showdown between Link and Ganondorf takes place in the sky, with the Hylian hero riding the Light Dragon. Look down to see the Demon Dragon far below, then free fall toward it. You will notice 4 pink growths covered with eyes on the monster's back. The small craters that surround each growth are safe for you to walk on, enabling you to strike the weak spots with the Master Sword. Once all 4 growths have been eliminated, you have one final target, the secret stone on the Demon Dragon's head. The creature will hurl gloom projectiles at you, but these are easy to avoid. Land on the head and strike the weak point until the boss's health bar has been fully depleted. It's time we finally destroy Ganondorf once and for all.